Hey everybody, this is Serpentine451 here, and I'm bringing you another episode of Fate Index. Well, like I said during Weeb Warriors last week, since I am in the middle of moving into my father's place, which I'm already here, I'm going to be doing, I said either the Tuesday of that week or this week's Tuesday. About a episode of Fate Index, and boy oh boy did I choose an assassin for you guys this week. I chose the Assassin in Black from Fate Apocrypha, Jack the Ripper. That's right. In her original Ripper Lolly form from Apocrypha, Jack, or Jackie as I like to call her, is a composition of souls, but I will also be talking about the Jack the Ripper in Fate Strange Fate, who is false Berserker. The two are very interesting, hinting to their historical reference being that of the notorious serial killer Jack the Ripper. Now, with Jack in Apocrypha, she is, like I said, a composition of the souls of aborted children in Whitechapel, which lends her to activate her noble phantasms in tandem with each other, the Mist and Maria the Ripper, two noble phantasms that work in tandem with each other. So why is it that Jack appears in this way? And it's interesting that also her master was originally a man named Hayoma Sagura, but has entered a contract with Rika Rikudo as the one to be her master. Because thanks to a video done by Otaku Daikun talking about Jack the Ripper in Apocrypha, she seeked a mother to love her. Well, to love the amalgamation of souls that make up her composition, since she's technically a wraith. Well, anyway, as an assassin, she has a strength at C, endurance at C, agility at A, mana at C, luck at E, and noble phantasm at C. Her class skills at present concealment at A+, murder of the Misty Knight at A, mental pollution at C, information erasure at B, and surgical procedure at E. Well, it is said that Jack the Ripper could be potentially a doctor or whatnot, since in history Jack the Ripper was a serial killer that never had their identity known. It is also believed that Jack the Ripper could either be a man or a woman, which is very interesting. Then, the aforementioned noble phantasms, Maria the Ripper, and the Mist. The Mist is more of a bounded field, capable of creating a sulfuric substance in the form of smoke that destroys masters and servants, especially if they're female. Well, I wouldn't say that about the Mist, but the Mist combined with Maria the Ripper, and if Maria the Ripper's true power can only work if the target is a woman, the attack is at night, and the Mist is invoked. So Jack here, or Jackie, she is very powerful and capable as a servant, even though she's just an evil-looking lolly. But in the end, she's just someone who wants to look for a mother. And she's very playful and considers her master, Rika, as her mother. And she refers to herself as a third person, in the third person. And she's very childish and irrational, but attributes a lot of the ideas that are connected to Jack the Ripper within her, which is very interesting. And with her final demise at the hands of those who want to stop her, And with her being the one that pretty much led to Adelante using her noble Phantasm, known as Agrias Metamorphosis, which is very interesting, because Jack is a composition, well, in this version, is a composition of child race. And Adelante's wish in Apocrypha is to basically save children, because she doesn't want children to suffer the same fate she did in her legend, which is admittedly very courageous in her own right. But I think that's enough of Jack as a assassin. Let's get to False Berserker. Now, False Berserker is Jack the Ripper in the True and False Holy Grail War in Fate's Strange Fake. But Berserker lacks a true identity, which makes him a false servant. He's acting on the embodiment of Jack the Ripper as a legend of somebody who doesn't have an identity. In fact, his summoning is that of a toy knife that's supposed to be an emblem of madness, thanks to Flat mistaking it for being an actual knife. But this leads to False Berserker having a very interesting personality juxtaposed to his assassin counterpart. Berserker speaks in a friendly manner, he's refined and polite, and has a crisp tone unbefitting of a mad warrior due to the unique circumstances within his existence. And he's surprised by Flat, his master's ineptitude and lack of decorum, which he handles in a very calm way. And he seeks the Holy Grail to reach to the true form of his identity. But it's very interesting. And all but one of his stats are non-applicable at the moment. His noble Phantasm ranks at B. His mana enhancement is non-applicable. And then his personal skills, Thousand Faces at A, and Wanderer of the Misty Night at B. So Murderer of the Misty Night and Wanderer of the Misty Night are two very similar skills, but in the end are actually quite different. And Thousand Faces only adds on to the credence of him not having a true identity. But that's interesting. That Murderer of the Misty Night and Wanderer of the Misty Night is an altered form of this skill. It grants an equal rank of present concealment as long as it's at night. Ooh. So Murderer of the Misty Night and Wanderer of the Misty Night are very interesting skills when they're used in tandem with each other. And they're very different in that circumstance. So Thousand Faces is basically alluding to the fact that he can change his form to whatever he wants. And then we have the anti-army noble phantasms, Natural Born Killers, which is at B, and From Hell, which is at A+ to E. Now, From Hell and Natural Born Killers are very interesting noble phantasms. In a sense, Natural Born Killers, starting in this one, thou art unworthy of a tragic demise. A noble phantasm based on the theory that Jack the Ripper was a group enables the creation of multiple bodies according to Jack the Ripper, according to the Master's magical energy. The last remaining body automatically becomes the main body. It can also be said that every body is the main one. The maximum number of bodies depends on the quantity of the Master's magical energy. Berserker can take on a maximum of 552 bodies with Flat as its master. The number of body decreases in proportion to the strength of the entity transformed into. Berserker can also use this noble phantasm together with From Hell to create over 200 demon bodies in order to fight True Archer. Now, isn't that interesting? This is a very powerful noble phantasm. Then, adding on to the fact that we have From Hell, The evil mists will perish with London's daybreak. Based on the theory that Jack the Ripper was a demon, this noble phantasm transforms Jack into a demon in the sense of a phantasmal species. Because it is rooted in the latent fear and unease of nearby people, its power changes in proportion to the population density within a radius of 5 kilometers. In a desert wasteland, its strength is only equal to that of a large beast of prey. In an urban area, it displays a power equivalent to that of a material servant, of a martial servant. Because it takes the form of a demon that humans envision as their natural enemy, it inflicts particularly effective damage on humans. Berserker can also use the symbol phantasm together with natural-born killers, which allowed him to create over 200 demon bodies in order to fight true Archer. Now, if you're observant, the noble phantasm gets its name from the letter written by Jack the Ripper. Activating it transforms his form as well as his surroundings, displaying changes as thick fog enveloping the area, roadside trees morphing into bluish black plants no one has ever seen before, and craters filling up with red magma that gives off poisonous steam. Human-faced bats fly through the air, and imp-shaped flames surround the traffic lights. Countless illusionary sooty buildings, suggestive of London's back alleys, also appear. Jack himself morphs into a monster roughly 5 meters tall. A raw sensuality accompanied the thing that stood atop the puppet show called Hell. His skin becomes toxic blue-purple, like a cross between a blueberry and a poisonous insect. His newly long, unusually developed arms ended in glittering saber-like claws. Long, twisted horns and sharp fangs protrude from his face, like a skull transformed into a demonic beast, and wings that spread from his back cast deep shadows all around it, fluttering like black cremation smoke. Now that's a very interesting thing to look into when it comes to those particular noble phantasms. But that's the thing between these two interpretations of Jack the Ripper. Plus, having him pretty much fight against true Archer Alcides, who is essentially Heracles' alter. And that's very interesting when you really think about it. Now, having that personality juxtaposed to Jack's and Apocrypha's personality, the childlike wraith up against the formless gentleman. Now, not knowing False Berserker's mad enhancement, gives the impression that it's at a low rank, simply because he's aware and can speak properly. Like most Berserkers, their modes of speech are limited depending on how high the rank is, or you're at an EX rank when your mentality is that of a single-minded individual. Examples come to mind like Minamoto no Raiko or Mama Raiko from Fate Grand Order, or in Florence Nightingale from Fate Grand Order. Their EX med enhancement ranks basically give them very single-minded attitudes. Hell, even Gilles de Rais Saber has Meta Enhancement EX, and that's very interesting as well. Maria the Ripper opposed to From Hell? Yeah, both these characters basically encapsulate what Jack the Ripper is in serial killer, and not only in serial killer history, but history as well. Having so many theories and interpretations can lead to just this particular facet, this particular person in history to have two different forms in fate. Now, I will get on to the episodes of Fate Codex that will feature Flat, Escardos, and Rika Rikuro, the masters of Jack the Ripper from two completely different worlds. Catch you then next time.